Hi, I'm Arianna with Freedom Frontline, and I'm sitting here at the Town Green in Long Beach with Erika Long, who is running for Ward 3 alderman. So, Erika, tomorrow is the big day where across the whole state people are going to be electing their mayor, city councilmen, aldermen, and why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, so my name's Erika Long. I'm running for Ward 3, like you just said. I have got 2 children, they're 4 and 8. I've got a husband, we've just celebrated 10 years of marriage. I have always been so interested in politics, especially in local politics. It's so important to vote in your local elections because that's where the big decisions really start. And I thought to myself, normal people need to go out and run for office because normal people, everyday people, need to also be making these decisions for the people like them, not people that are out of touch. And so I've been here for almost 9 years. I am the beverage director at Radish in downtown Long Beach. I also own a company called The Long Pour. It's a staffing company for, so like if you needed a bartender or a server or something at an event, a wedding. We've bartended some really large events on the coast as well. I'm also very active in the schools. I'm the president of the PTO at Reeves Elementary School. I'm on the PAC committee for the school board. And, I just am someone who really loves our little town and wanted to make a difference in any way that I could. And I thought, this might be it. This is the way to do it. So that's me.
Well, that's great. So you mentioned that you're the president of the PTO at the elementary school. So how did you get involved in that?
That is a good question. My best friend that lives right next door to me was actually the president before my daughter started going to elementary school. And so I would help her with her little projects, that she was doing, just because she was my friend and my neighbor. Well, it was a given, that when my daughter started that I was going to join as well. But more than that, it's so important for your children to know that you pack them up and you're going to be there for them. And you're going to, when you're present, they're present. And I've always knew when I had kids that I was going to do everything I could to make sure they knew that I supported them with everything that they do. And being on the PTO is one way to support them in their education journey as well as, extracurriculars. So I knew, and I love it. It gives back to the kids. There's so many kids in our community that don't, have things that they need, and just being someone there that can give them a hug if they get an A on a test is just the most rewarding, awesome experience. So that's why I joined the PTO. It's lots of reasons, but for my kids, to know that I'm there for them.
Yeah. So you have a lot of different job roles, and you're on the PTO,
Yes.
and you said the PAC committee.
Yes.
How in the world do you balance that with even being a mother and a wife?
Man, you just have to prioritize. And, some days, like for example, this week is actually Teacher Appreciation Week. And so the PTO, this is one of our biggest weeks of the year. And thankfully I've got fantastic teammates with the PTO that help. And so it's not all on me. We delegate, but, some weeks, like I said, this week's Teacher Appreciation for the PTO, but I'm also trying to win an election. Shout out to Kathy for just holding down the fort at the school this week for me. And with my job, thank goodness I have a fantastic boss. I spoke with him before I started this journey and said, hey, is this going to interfere with my job? Like, are we going to be able to work something out where I can take these days off? And, because I do a lot at my job too. I have a supervisor role, and, I need to be present there. But he is phenomenal. and has supported me every way he could in this. And my husband, again, so supportive. I'm just very blessed to have a really fantastic support system and team in my life, to be able to delegate, and not have to just do everything. You know, my husband knows today, you know, it's the day before the election, I gotta go knock on doors today. So, you know, he's planning dinner. He's got a grocery order he's picking up, you know. So again, it's a challenge, but, you know, being a mom and a wife all by itself is a little challenging. So, you know, what's one more thing?
Yeah. Well, I think that's really good. And I think that speaks a lot about you, just that you have a support team and people willing to back you up so you can pursue this goal as running for alderman.
Yes.
So I think that's really great that you have that.
I'm so blessed, yes.
So I was reading a little bit about you from your Facebook page, that you got Parent of the Year.
I did.
Can you tell us like what year that was and how you achieved that?
Yes. It was last school year, so it was the 2023-2024 school year. It was my first year being the president of the PTO. I kind of unexpectedly took on that role. We had our prior president, she got a job opportunity that just kept her from being able to continue. So it was a little surprising that I was in that role last year, but I said to myself, you know, I love doing this. I love volunteering for the school, but if I'm going to be in charge of it, it's got to be rewarding for me. It's got to be something that I have a passion about. And, you know, my passion has just always been, I have a soft spot for the students who are maybe a little less fortunate, you know, maybe don't have the resources to get the supplies that they need. And so for me, when I started the PTO last year, I was just, what do you need? I worked with our counselor at the school. I was like, what do kids need? What supplies can their parents not replace? Or because school is a lot of times the only place where these kids feel safe and feel normal. And you don't want them to go without or feel different in their safe space. And so the PTO bought headphones last year because we found out that they break a lot and parents can't always replace them. So we bought headphones. Oh gosh. School supplies. Our huge goal was to build a playground, and we were able to accomplish that goal this year, but huge part of last year was fundraising for this playground. And just in doing all of that, I think the administration recognized that I genuinely love these kids, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure they have what they need. And so they honored me with that award, and it was an incredibly humbling experience. And to get it for Reeves Elementary was awesome, but when I went to the district meeting, I never in a million years would have thought, because we didn't know who was getting it for the district.
So it's out of the whole district?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So there's Parent of the Year for each school individually, and then you go to a school board meeting where they announce who got it for the whole district.
Wow, so you got the district one?
Yes.
Wow.
So I didn't know that I was getting that award that night. Yeah. And when they started saying, they started talking about this person and what they've done, and I'm just looking at Dr. Locke, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's me.
That's amazing.
I was crying. It was ridiculous. I never ever would have thought I would have got that, but I'm so grateful and humbled that they chose me.
Yeah,
so.
That's amazing. I feel like that speaks a lot on your character and how involved you've been with the school district. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
So I do want to switch gears a little bit. So we've gotten to know you a little bit from everything you've said so far. But what inspired you to want to run for city alderman?
There's that, I've been asked that question so many times.
I bet.
And the answer, I feel like it changes sometimes because there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And when I'm speaking to people, I feel like I have to jam all these reasons into like 5 seconds, especially, when I'm trying to meet people in the community. But mostly, in my work with the PTO, I'm part of a team, I'm part of a board, and we're able to make such a big difference in just our little school. And while I love that, I thought to myself, I love my community. I love Long Beach. I live in Ward 3 where, we have a lot more residences than businesses. And I said, if I can make a difference in this little school, like I can make a difference in such a bigger way. And so I considered doing this, for the past, I would say about 5 years. So in the last election, I did consider it as well. But, we had a circumstance where our alderman stepped down and there was a special election and I just wasn't prepared at that time.
Right.
And so I said, I'm just going to wait. We'll see where I'm at. And I had a baby, COVID happened.
There was a lot.
Yeah. So, I think everything happens for a reason, and waiting until this cycle, I feel great. I feel positive. And no matter what happens tomorrow, I've had this window where people are listening to me and my ideas and what I care about and what our community needs and what our residents need. And it's been amazing to just meet my neighbors, and it just reinforces that I'm making the right decision.
Good.
And that this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for all of these people and for this community, and so I can make a difference.
Yeah, that's great. I'm always very curious just because I have an interest in politics and potentially running for something.
Yeah.
Just being a part of the community, making a difference. I just feel that passion, and I'm always curious what inspired people to take that step. What was their background that led them to be where they're at now? So I really commend you for taking that step. One of the things that I'm always concerned about, just from the unfamiliar of trying something new, is as a first-time candidate, do you have any worries about understanding what the role of the alderman is and actually being able to achieve at that role?
I do not. I have been, looking into everything. I've been reading up all the minutes, the ordinances. Thankfully, I'm so excited that I've actually formed relationships with some of our current aldermen, other candidates. I've had the privilege to meet council members from other districts, other cities. And we've talked because, if I'm going to apply for this job with the people, I need to be educated about what the job is.
Yeah.
And so I definitely understand that, the mayor's in charge of the city, right? But somebody has to represent the people, and that's what the alderman's supposed to do. And it's, again, I keep using the word humbled, but this whole experience to me has been incredibly humbling. That, just driving around town and seeing my signs in people's yards, and I'm like, I don't even know who lives there,
Yeah.
They support me because they believe in me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the people in this town believe I can do this job, I better believe I can do this job, know? So it's just, so no, I everyone in Long Beach deserves to be represented and deserves to be heard. And I've never been afraid of asking questions, and even if they make people uncomfortable, and I think that it's important to have someone in office that's willing to do that and ask the questions that our residents want answers to, even if it makes people on the other end of it uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's good. You gotta push the boundaries a little bit. So, if you are elected as alderman, what are you wanting to achieve in your term, or is there any specific issues that you wanted to focus on?
Well, that's a really good question. I think that Long Beach is going in a good direction. We've got a lot of these infrastructure projects that are moving forward finally. In just talking to our residents in Long Beach, or in my ward, a lot of the complaints are the roads, the potholes, the
Flooding.
Oh God, the flooding. And I think we've got to have somebody that wants to continue those projects, and I do, very important. I live north of the tracks, so it's a little bit of an older part of town. Driving down Allen Road, for example, it's half paved,
Yeah.
So we need to focus on that. We can't be considered the friendly city and welcome people when a lot of our areas don't look welcoming. And that's a big part of what I would like to achieve. I also would like to work with the other city leaders to figure out a way for us to continue to grow business, but in a way that keeps us the community that we are.
Right.
You have to, 33% of the revenue that comes into Long Beach is from our people,
Mhm.
our tags, our homeowners, not
High.
insurance,
Yeah.
property tax.
taxes,
Thank
yeah.
you. I just renewed my insurance. Okay, that was been on my mind. But we've got to think of a way to take some of that tax burden
Yeah.
off, and we've all got to work together for that. I can't do it all by myself if I get elected, but that's one thing that is going to be very important to me to speak with everyone else in the room about,
Yeah.
and figure out a solution.
Yeah.
We have to keep moving forward. So, and in a way that benefits the people that live here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's great. So we're kind of wrapping up now. Is there anything you would like to say to the people of Ward 3 of things that they should know about you, what you're wanting to focus on? What can encourage them to go out and vote for you tomorrow?
Okay, well, like I said, I'm Erika, and I live north of the tracks. I live on Edmond Drive. I don't mind saying it. And my signs are all over the street. You wouldn't be hard to find me. So I work downtown. I work across from City Hall. I'm in the schools every day. My husband works here. I have kids here. I'm active in this community. I'm speaking to people every day about issues every day. Even before I was running, this was important to me to talk about because it affects me too. And I just wanted to be able to be a relatable person that you knew you could walk up to me and say, hey, my street has this pothole that hasn't been fixed in 5 years. Can you help me? Without being intimidated. And I know living here, I didn't even know what my alderman looked like until I looked her up because I decided to run. And I want to be that approachable person that can actually help you and do good and get the message where it needs to go to City Hall. So that's my biggest reason to vote for me, because I want you to talk to me.
Yeah.
I want to talk to people.
I think transparency is really
Yes.
important, especially just that's what everybody's been focused on, so I think that's good.
Yes, well, thank you. Just, hopefully I can earn your vote. It's a privilege to run. It's been a humbling experience to just know that everyday people would take the time to go down and mark my name on a ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've knocked on a couple doors where people, I've said, hey, I'm Erika Long, I'm introducing myself, and they say, hey, I voted early. I already voted for you. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing to make that impact, and a privilege. And I think that that's where a lot of people maybe don't realize it is a privilege to do this. And I would just be so happy to have the honor to represent Ward 3.
Yeah, I think that was a great way to summarize it up. It is a privilege. I mean, that's what this great country is about, is that you have the freedom to go out and vote for people who's going to represent you and how you want to change where you live. So I think it's very important that people get to know who their candidates are. So thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it.
So tomorrow is election day, April 1st, April Fool's Day, but don't be a fool and go out and vote. That not only in Long Beach, but across the whole state of Mississippi, there's going to be voting for aldermen, mayor, city councilmen, a whole bunch of elections. So use your ability of this great nation, the United States of America. Go out and vote. And yeah, well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, check us out on Facebook, YouTube. You can find Erika's Facebook
I'm on
page.
Facebook.
You can get to know her, message her if you have any other questions.
Yes.
And so yeah, thank you.
Thank you.